Hey guys, this is Michelle Tomlinson with eXp Realty, and I'm here to go over the top 5 features to consider when buying a lake house. These are conversations that I have with my clients all the time, so I thought I'd put it out here for anybody that's interested in looking at a lake house. So the first feature that we're going to talk about is number 5 would be the yard slope. So we can have everything from kind of a cliff type ledge, and we can have flat lots. With your cliff type ledge, you're going to have an amazing, breathtaking view. You're going to be on the top of a hill, but you got a lot of steps to go up and down. So kind of weighing that in when you're looking at the piece of property. A nice flat lot is obviously very easy to get to your boathouse. Sometimes though, your Dominion power line can be, or Dominion owned line can be back into your lot a little bit more with the flat lots because the flood line is up a little bit more. So all just kinds of things to consider, which we can help you with along the way. Number 4 would be the septic. So does the lot perk? How many bedrooms does it perk for? When you are looking at possibly using this as a rental or even just for yourself, you want to make sure that you're able to have enough bedrooms in it. If it doesn't currently have enough, if you're thinking you want to add on to it. So knowing that septic is going to be really important for yourself or for rentals. Number 3 would be access to main lake. So on several of the creeks, we have culverts, and those are bridges with small kind of narrow openings that not all boats can fit through. So if you are a big fan of wakeboarding and wake surfing and you have a wake tower on your boat, you may want to consider avoiding behind the culverts because you can't get out to main lake. Or the flip side is you may want to be behind a culvert because you want a little bit of a quieter area. And maybe you don't do the water sports so much. Maybe you're more into fishing. So, depending on what you're looking for in a property would depend on how suitable, being up into one of those creeks would be for you. Obviously, they can tend to be a little bit more affordable sometimes as well. Also thinking about where's the closest boat launch and how long does it take me to get from where I am back in the creek to that main lake or to that boat launch, or just things to consider when looking at the properties. All right, number 2 is going to be the view. So of course, everyone wants that $1 million view from their house. So, are there trees obstructing it? At this point within the Dominion property line, you're not able to clear any more trees. So what that view is now is there. You might see some houses that have a completely clear line all the way down to the lake. Those were grandfathered in. Those trees were cut before that was instituted by Dominion. But some people like the trees. It adds a little layer of privacy and a little bit of shade on your house as well. And then is your view out to the wide main lake, or is it the narrow creek portion of the lake? Those are going to, definitely kind of affect the price point as well. So if you're, perfectly content with a creek view, then you might, be able to stay within your budget a little bit better. And then things like the sunrise, the sunset, all those are kind of taken into consideration. So the view is definitely very important. And we can definitely help you figure that out when you're looking at a property. All right, number 1, you may not have thought of this, but number 1, in my opinion and experience, is going to be the boathouse. So does the property have a boathouse already? If it does, excellent. We live on our boathouse. If it doesn't already have a boathouse, finding out why doesn't it have a boathouse? Did they apply for a permit and then it was turned down by Dominion? Is there a reason? Sometimes if the boathouse would impede the navigational pathway, there's various different reasons that Dominion may not approve one. So we can kind of help you figure out what happened there. Could just be the homeowner just never felt like they needed a boathouse, so didn't build one. But finding out, does it have one? And if it doesn't, is one, potentially possible? And then lastly, and I feel like this is the most important thing, if there is a boathouse, everything else on your list can be checked off. You can have that view that you want. You can have the flat or sloped lot that you want. You have everything you want. But if you are stepping off of your boathouse into 2 feet of water, you're not swimming, you're standing. So that is so important, and you can't change that. You can try, but it's kind of complicated, and it involves digging and dredging and permitting, and does that stay? So you want to find a boathouse with adequate water depth. If you're going to be using the boathouse to swim off of or to dock your boat into. Our MLS does provide that information. So as a Lake Gaston agent, I am able to provide that to you. That's not something you'll necessarily find on any of your mainstream search platforms. So if you are, finding a property and you're curious about the water depth, feel free to contact me and I can look into that for you. As I do think that is really one of probably the most important thing to consider. So I hope that has been helpful to you. And, as always, feel free to contact me. My information is at the bottom of the screen here. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I can set you up on a little search if you want to get started with looking at lake properties, and that search will have the water depth and the areas of the lake and everything on it. So just let me know. Happy lake house shopping.